leave with Coach.
I've been out here.
Let me ask you this, bro. Not to get all of you in your business, but how did you get to where you have to come out here?
When I had lost my mama.
You lost your mom?
Yeah, I was locked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, so I did like your last year.
So nobody was able to pay the bills. You were probably what, collecting a check from your mom?
No, she was like on her own. She was in Clayton County. I was still in Clayton County. She passed in Clayton County. And I was locked up. I didn't go. They didn't let me go to the funeral. So I come out here. I know I ain't had nobody out here, no folks. She's the only one that looked out for me. My daddy passed me in 2015. So I ain't got no family. I got family here. I'm from here. You know what I'm saying? But I came out. I sleep right there too. I have a kid right there.
You try to come out here once a month. This right here is the man who's in lead of it, right here, off in the Kashawan. We try to come out here once a month. So what we're wanting to do is find out the needs of our people to do what we can once a month. You know, we can't just pull you up off of here, but we can try to do something to let you know we're here for you.
Let me say this to you. It's not that we're trying to come out here once a month. We're coming out.
Right. Come on.
So the goal is to get everybody out of this captivity that you're in. Because the last time we came down here, this whole part was flooded. And the cops come and move y'all all over the place, and then we gotta find y'all. Yeah. Like, this ain't no way of living, man. And they not doing shit for you. So we in ISUPK are trying to do something, you know what I mean? But again, you give the code, you give the food.
Let me get one of those slow motion pictures, bro. One of the slow motion pictures.
You gotta shoot at 60 frames per second.
Come on, that.
They say they wanna hear that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. Cause if they make the wrong move, it coach. You see me, they like, ooh, keep on stopping. I'm on my way up and they ain't gon' stop it. They say they wanna hear that raw shit. Coming up, I'm about to bullshit. They see me, they like, ooh, keep on stopping. I'm on my body, real niggas right beside me. Damn right, I brought my army. Going up like a rocket, and can't nobody stop me. These niggas garbage, so watch your mouth, boy. Coming all black, slithering house, call me mouth, boy. I'm off the hip like a cowboy. I'm a king, you should bow, boy. Shorty like, damn, man, you cut up. Nothing I can handle. 144 in the booth, going Rambo. Niggas do you dirty like a stick in a bando. That's why I play the corner like a bum with a banjo. I'ma lead by example. Ooh, keep on sobbing, got this bitch off the hand. Got this juice, got the drip, about to hit the bitch with the salt. It ain't rap, it's assault. Can't taste a bitch unless you with the coke. They say they wanna hear that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. Cause if they make the wrong move, it coach.
One way.
Coming up on my bullshit. I do it how.
Ready to go, Napash? Shalom, Israel. I am priest and officer Kasiyat of ISUBK Atlanta. Today is the biblical law class, and the name of the class is Black and Homeless in Atlanta. Once again, this is the biblical law class, and the topic is Black and Homeless in Atlanta. Before we get started, what I'd like to do before class is to give you the itinerary for the week. Monday is the biblical history class. Tuesday is the brotherhood class. Wednesday, which is tonight, is the law class. Thursday is the scriptural breakdown class with General Mahyman. And Friday is our Lashawan Kodash class. That is our original language in the Hebrew. Saturday, we have the Sabbath from 10 until 11. We go to war, and then we come back. With that said, once again, this is the biblical law class, and the topic is Black and Homeless in Atlanta. Let me go ahead and get this conference call started. Just one moment. Okay, I'm going to have to use a different phone because it is wanting me to use this one. Okay, just a second here.
You are the first on this meeting. Please hold while we wait for others to join.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get this thing started. If you have any questions, you'll be able to call in to the call-in number, which is 404-793-7180, or you can tune into our class live on Facebook, ISUBK Atlanta, or you can go into our YouTube page, which is No Cowards Atlanta. Join us live. Put your questions in. This is a pretty heavy topic that I'm going to go into tonight, talking about being Black and homeless in Atlanta. Once again, Black and homeless in Atlanta. Do I have anyone on the call? Okay, if we do get anyone, just chime in, put your phones on mute, and hold your peace. If you have anything to say, just say Salakia, and I will get with you. All right, as I said, tonight we're going to talk about being Black and homeless in Atlanta. One of the things that brought this topic to mind for me to teach on tonight is the fact that my brothers and I, we go out twice a month to downtown Atlanta to feed and clothe our people. Now, when I say our people, I'm talking about Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. But don't get it mistaken. If you happen to be white, if you're Asian, and you're out there and you're homeless, we'll feed you as well. With that being said, Atlanta is known as the Black Mecca. Atlanta is known as the Black Hollywood. And as you'll hear me today bring out a couple of instances where I'm going to show you how that's not true. But one of the things that they call Atlanta is Wakanda. Now, we understand that Wakanda is a fictional place that's supposed to be rich Black folks. Let me go ahead and let you know that, number one, the place Wakanda is supposed to be Africans. It's after the movie Black Panther. Wakanda has nothing to do with Black people. Wakanda is a fictional place. Atlanta is not Wakanda. Atlanta is Atlanta. As simple as that. Now, once this class is over with, it's going to be up to you to decide whether or not you believe that Atlanta is Black Hollywood. It's going to be up to you to decide whether you believe that Atlanta is the Black Mecca, the place to be. I'm going to read a couple articles to you. And as I read these articles, I'm going to break some things down to you with these scriptures, give you some precepts to show you what's going on and why we're in the position that we're in here in this so-called land of milk and honey for Blacks. You're going to understand, especially if you live here in Atlanta, some of you may be clouded, those of you watching the class, not those of the brothers that are in the truth, but those of you who are watching the class, you will understand that basically what you see and what you hear aren't the same things. They can tell you that Atlanta is very rich and very wealthy. Yes, Atlanta is the blackest of cities. But when it comes to being rich and wealthy, I mean, yeah, there's some Black people who have money. There's some Black people who are rich. Now, understand there's a difference in being rich and there's a difference in being wealthy. Rich, you can lose it all in one mistake, one bad decision, one bad business move. You can lose it all. But when you're wealthy, that's long. That's long money. That's generational. That's assets. That's not just actual money. That's properties. That's business. That's stocks and bonds. That's generational wealth that your oppressor has and that he has built up off of the backs of you, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And how did he do that? He did that here in Atlanta, especially through the traitorous acts of Martin Luther King, who sold his people out for white women. He has done that through the traitorous acts of those who you would call the gatekeepers, and those would be your black pastors and or your black politicians, who also open the door for them to come in and eat you. They actually open the door, open the gates, so that your oppressor could come in and use you for whatever they wanted. They hired those who they thought they could use that would allow them to oppress us. We want to say they hired them. I'm talking about hirelings. You'll hear me discuss hirelings in the Bible, and those hirelings are going to be your pastors today. They were hired by your oppressor to oppress their own people. How do they oppress us? They oppress us with the lies that they tell. They oppress us by allowing the oppressor to come in and feed the lies to us through politics, feed the lies to us through religion, through Christianity, by stealing who we are from us, by stealing our culture, by sharing our culture with everyone else, but us not operating in it. And when I say sharing it with everyone else, what it is to be black. And when I say that is, if you notice, your oppressor copies everything we do, and we copy everything the oppressor does. One of the things that the oppressor does that we do is the oppressor doesn't have brotherhood. And guess what? If you aren't in this truth, you don't have brotherhood either. You've watched your oppressor go out and start wars and start rumors of wars. And that's what he has done. Everywhere your oppressor goes, there's a war. He goes and tries to conquer it and put his ideology, his thought process on wherever it is that he goes and he conquers. Now, when I say that, he's doing that to his own people. We'll start right here with the war of the North and the South. We'll start right here with the Civil War. This is Edomite versus Edomite, Esau versus Esau, oppressor versus oppressor, the white man versus the white man, so that you get clear understanding. They have warred against each other, and they've been doing it because they want to have, on one side, they want to have control, and on the other side, they want to have control. But who is it that they want to have control of? They want to have control of you, black man, you Hispanic man, you Native Indian man. Well, we're going to circle all the way back around to where the control is. And the control is here in Atlanta. Understanding that 51.8% of the city of Atlanta's population is black. 51.8% of the city of Atlanta's population is black. But 86%, now I'm not going to say Slovakia, I'm not going to say but, 86% of Atlanta's homeless population is black. 86 of the population of Atlanta's homeless is 86%. Now, I'm sure that you'd have to be saying to yourself, how is that possible with Atlanta being the Black Mecca, with Atlanta being known as Black Hollywood? Well, we're going to get into it today about why and how that's false, why and how that's a lie, in part to the oppressor and the hirelings, which is your Christian pastor. Before I keep going, do I have anybody on the call? Excellent, no sweat. We will continue. And before I get started, what I want to do is I want to bring out a precept to you. The precept that I'm going to bring out is in Leviticus 19 and 10. And I'm going to read it. The book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 10. And thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather every grape or of thy vineyard. Thou shalt thou shalt leave them for the poor and stranger. I am the Lord your God. So I'm going to go back again. At the top of this, it says, and thou shalt not glean thy vineyard. Now, when it says thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, I'm going to give you the definition of glean. Bear with me just one moment. Just a second here. Okay. So, glean. To glean, it says here, extract from various sources. The information is gleaned from press clippings. That's not the definition that I'm looking for. That's a verb. But we're going to go down to where it says similar. Now, glean, it says to collect gradually and bit by bit. So gradually, bit by bit, you're going out and you're gathering something bit by bit, every bit of it. Then I'm going to go to the next one, which is the historical definition of glean. It says gather leftover grain or other produce after a harvest. Gather leftover grain or other produce after a harvest. That's what it means to glean. So when you're gathering produce after a harvest, that means it's time to pull all the crops. Well, the scripture here says, and thou shalt not glean thy vineyard. Don't pull all the crops, is what this is telling you. It says, neither shalt thou gather every grape. If you understand what it's saying, it's telling you when you go out there to pull some of these crops after they've grown, after the season is up, you don't have to take every single thing that's out there. You can leave some. It says here, neither shalt thou gather every grape or of thy vineyard. Thou shalt leave them for the poor and stranger. So once you've gone out to pull all your crops from whatever it is that you have grown, if something falls to the ground or if there's still something left on the vine, in the tree, what have you, you don't have to go back and say, oh, I'm going to get that. I'm going to get every last one. That is not what you do. You leave some for the poor and the stranger. So when the poor come through, they can get themselves something to eat. So when the stranger comes through, they can get themselves something to eat. So when you look at how it is now here in Atlanta, imagine all of our homeless that we have out there. The black people who have wealth of Salakia, who have riches, they gather up all the riches for themselves. Who gathers up all those riches for themselves? Mainly your Christian pastors. Because a lot of times your celebrities that move to Atlanta, they aren't even from here. Now, that's not excluding them because now they do live here. But I'm not putting it all on the people who have moved here. It's your Christian pastors who live right here, who make sure that they gather up every grape, who make sure that they don't leave anything, who make sure that when you come to their church, they give you a great spiel on what it is to tithe, and make sure that you empty your pockets each and every Sunday when you go to church with them. Now you'd have to ask yourself, where is all this money going? Because there's always a committee, the building fund, the parking lot fund to get the parking lot done. There's always some sort of committee to get something done at a church. But the issue is you never see those things getting done, and you never see that food or those drinks or anything like that that comes from those tithes going back out into the community. You don't see those things. There you go. You don't see those things happening. But what you're going to understand today is that your oppressor has trained up the black Christian pastor very well to sell his people out, to make sure that he can empty their pockets and not give any of it back, to take any and every grape that's there. Shalom, Lord Christ, word.
Shalom, Adawan, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Barakatah.
Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Barakatah. You Tawab?
I'm Tawab, sir. How about yourself?
Excellent. Good to see you. So if you would, I'm going to go ahead and get you to read that verse that I just read, the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 10. Leviticus 19 and 10, Baba Kasha.
Come on, sir. This is the book of Leviticus, 19 and verse 10.
19 and 10.
Come on, sir. And thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather every grape of thy vineyard. Thou shalt leave them for the poor and stranger. I am the Lord your God.
Now, for those of you who are just coming into class, understanding that when you glean something, it's when you're gathering the harvest. You're gathering what's there for at the end of your harvest. You're gathering everything up to bring it in. As you continue to read, as the brother was saying, he says, neither shalt thou gather every grape of thy vineyard. Thou shalt leave them for the poor and the stranger. I'm going to continue to go back through this verse because I'm going to show you where our brothers who have been the leaders here in Atlanta, meaning your black Christian pastors, they haven't left a grape. And if they did leave a grape, they made sure to go back and get it and give it to the oppressor. Because if they did leave any grapes, guess what? For our homeless that are out there, they wouldn't be starving like they are today. For our homeless that are out there, they wouldn't be neglected the things that they need. Shalom in Christ. Who I got? Shalom, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai Barakatah. What's going on, Akituab? You Tuaba? Okay, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Excellent. You're just now tuning in. The name of the class is Black and Homeless in Atlanta. You have any questions, any comments? Okay, excellent. We'll keep on going. Now, there's an article that I'm going to read. I'm going to start to read, and then as we go through the class, I'm going to refer back to this article that I found very interesting. Since we're talking about Atlanta, and because Atlanta is such a black city and known to be Black Hollywood and the Black Mecca, it's known to be Wakanda, it's known to be so rich. We're going to discuss a few things, and I want to understand if that's the case, then why are 86% of the homeless population here in Atlanta Black? If we are who they say we are, how is this possible? I'm going to start reading here. Now, this is from News One. How is Atlanta Wakanda when 86% of its homeless are Black? Once again, 86% of its homeless are Black. Young Black people love them some Atlanta. I've heard it called Mecca, the Mecca for young Black professionals. Believe it or not, there have even been comparisons to the fictional city of Wakanda. There's no question that Atlanta is a bustling city. It is one of the fastest growing cities in America. According to the U.S. Census, Atlanta grew by more than 75,000 people in 2019. The city estimates by 2040, there could be 1.2 million people living within the city limits. Atlanta's celebrity culture and its business-first mindset make it a desirable location for Black folks looking for a better life. Understand that. It says here, Atlanta's celebrity culture and its business-first mindset make it a desirable location for Black folks looking for a better life. Mind you, I told you in the beginning of the class that 51.8% of the city of Atlanta's population is Black. But here's what you need to truly understand, and I'm going to come back to this article. When it talks about that being the city's population and how it's so great to come here and live, you would have to then explain to me why Atlanta's average income is for median income for a Black family in the city is $28,105. That's the average income for Blacks in the city of Atlanta, $28,105, compared to $83,722 for a white family. That's nearly a 3-to-1 ratio. These are facts. These are statistical. You can go and look these up for yourself. So if Atlanta is this place for Black people to come and they want to be wealthy, if they want to be rich, if they want to expand, if they want to have such great careers, then you would have to explain to me how then is the average income for a Black family $28,105. That's nothing. I can promise you $28,000 a year for a husband and wife and children. If that's the only income that they're making, then they're struggling. That's damn near poverty. You are barely living check to check. But for the average white family, it's $83,000 plus a year. But let's go back to that article, because according to that article, Atlanta is the place to be. Atlanta is the place that you want to live. It says here, Atlanta's celebrity culture and its business first mindset make it a desirable location for black folks to live who are looking for a better life. So what they're doing here in Atlanta is they're showing you Tyler Perry. They're showing you the wealthiest of us in Atlanta. That's what they're showing you. They're not showing you the brother who's making it from check to check, trying to survive, who's trying to make sure that his wife is well, who's trying to make sure that his children are well, who's trying to make sure that he keeps food on the table and a roof over his head. They're showing you people who, number one, most of them aren't even from here, but even if they did live here and they happen to have some money, these people aren't giving it back to you. You might say to yourself, well, look at what Tyler Perry did. Tyler Perry has been giving people jobs. Tyler Perry has been giving black actors and actresses jobs. How many blacks are out there are actors? We're talking about on an average. We're talking about people who need a job, people who are looking for a 9-to-5, who want to work right now, who are trying to live, who are trying to survive. Then you may say, well, look, Tyler Perry bought BET and VH1 or whatever it is that he got. It means nothing to me. You have Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta. Guess what he did with Tyler Perry Studios? Tyler Perry built I don't even know what you would call it, but housing units for people to come and live. But guess what? This isn't housing units for the homeless. This isn't housing units that he said, okay, I'm building this for black people who are in poverty. These housing units that he built are for teenagers and or people who want to come out, be it bisexual, gay, what have you, whatever you want to call it, LGBTQ, so they can come out and live in peace, so they can come there and live, have a community. That's what he built. But look at all the homeless population that we have of blacks that live here in this city. Slakia. He didn't say I'm going to. Go ahead,
that is heavy, sir. It's a lot. Because we also look at that and use that just to show how, Atlanta just, by what you're saying, like in Atlanta, it's just like, the LGBT community. That's who striving, who really strive. Like, it was you black, it don't matter. The LGBT, that community, right? Because the reason why I said that, because you say Tyler Perry built, community for those kind of people. The expression for that, could we use where your heart is, where your heart is, that your treasure be also? Right?
Absolutely. His heart is not with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Don't get it twisted. What he has done is he's used the plight of blacks and used his story to get the attention of black people, to get the attention of white people, so they can say, well, see, if Tyler Perry can pull himself up by the bootstraps, so can you. Because, at one point, Tyler Perry was homeless. So now you're looking at Tyler Perry, who's a billionaire now, and everyone black is going, yeah, I can do that. So when he's opening stuff up and he's buying these businesses and got a $32 million home, everyone's cheering and saying yay and clapping for him. While guess what? Your Christian pastor is still taking you to the bank. He's taking everything out your pockets, and those that are sleeping on his doorsteps, who they won't open the door for the homeless, they still have nothing. So while you're congratulating and happy for Tyler Perry, who stood there and put his hands on TD Jake's head and said, "Shalabababamba," and then all of a sudden he had the Holy Ghost all over him, you're looking at him as this Christian who has all this money, but hasn't opened the first black grocery store. He hasn't come to the West End and said, you know what, let me do something about these brothers and sisters over here that are struggling. He didn't come down there to where we teach every single weekend to say, let me do something about these brothers and sisters who are struggling. He hasn't gone to one spot in Atlanta and said, you know what, I'm going to make a difference here. What is it that I can do? Let me get with the mayor and say, let us solve this problem for the homeless, because I'm a billionaire, because I can give back, because I was once homeless myself, so I know what it is to be homeless. I know what it is to not be able to take a shower. I know what it is to not have a meal every single day. I know what it is to not get proper medical care. You would think because he knows this, that would be what he would do with his funds, what he would do with his riches. But no, he wanted to open up a community for the LGBTQ. But I'm not going to veer too far off on that. I want us to understand, though, that there's nothing great about Atlanta. Now, you got people who live here and they love their city. I'm not one of those people who claim my city and like, oh, I just love it. It's the best. I come here from Chicago. I don't claim Chicago like it's something special. I got brothers and sisters that are getting killed and shut up every single day in Chicago. I'm not claiming it, saying that that's nothing special. But look at Atlanta. Everyone wants to claim Atlanta. And for what? Yeah, there are wealthy black people here. But look at all the black homeless that we have here. How do I know how many we have here? Because I go out with my brothers twice a week or twice a month, Salakia, to go and feed our homeless. The head of that homeless department is Officer Nakashiwan, who's been doing an excellent job making sure that we get out there and get the people what they need. Beyond just the food, they're also getting the truth. They're also getting our brotherhood. And for that, I want to give that brother a shout out. And I'm going to go even further with that. That wouldn't be possible without Commanding General Yohana also. So give him one as well. You see, here in the ISUPK, we make sure that our people are fed. We make sure that they have clothes on their back. What we're doing is trying to establish a relationship with these brothers and sisters that are out there, so that at some point, if it's one by one, we can get them off that street and into this truth. Because your Christian pastor isn't going to do it. The richest and wealthy of us, like Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, they aren't going to do it. Your black celebrities out there, your ball players, you have them there to go and start a school somewhere. They're going to pay for a couple of brothers to go to college. Hey, Most High in Christ, I'm not going to complain. But there's so much more that can be done. How is it possible that you can walk down the street and see a man on the side of the road laying there in his own urine, laying there in his own feces, wanting something to eat, wanting something to drink, and not have any compassion for him? Not stop and say, what can I do for you? You know where you learn that from? You learn that from your Christian pastor. That's who you learned it from. Because when you go to the Christian pastor for help, guess what happens? He'll tell you, well, you know what? Let me get with the committee. We have to pray about it. Just pray about it and we'll get back to you. And when they get back to you, they'll say, well, you know, at this time, the Lord doesn't want us to move like that. So what you need to do is go through this storm. But when the pastor needs something, what does he do? He goes to his congregation and says, I need so-and-so and such and such. I need you to give a good love offering. And what do? You go into your pockets and you empty them for that liar. But guess what? If you saw your brother on the street and you saw him laying there needing something, you look at him, you look down on him, you shun him, you walk past him as though it was nothing. When your black ass could be in that same predicament within a week, just from a bad decision. But we look down on our homeless. We look down on those who are less fortunate than us. But understand this. Understand this. Those things will come back on you. You will understand before it's all said and done that you were wrong for looking at your brother and turning your head away from him. I'm going to continue. Have any other comments?
That's what I got one.
Go ahead, Al.
Couple comments, right? Yeah, it's every saying because even when he calls it him, he never says, "Oh, the Lord is with me." If you down and out, he gonna always say, "Yeah, he's the Lord." He look at you like the Lord not with you, but when he talks to you, with the Lord, when he broke it, he just need a love out. He don't tell the congregation, "Look, the Lord ain't with you right now." It's like it, bro.
Right. The Lord ain't with the people in the congregation, but the Lord always gonna be with him, because all he has to do is come to the congregation. He ain't ever said, "Well, you know what? Before I go to my people, I'm gonna go into the closet and I'm gonna pray." He don't do that. He comes straight to you and takes it out of your pocket. He has never come to you and said, "You know what? We are going to collect tithes and offerings this Sunday and take every single bit of it out into these streets. We're gonna go out there and take every bit of the tithes to feed the people. We're gonna take every bit of the tithes to give them something to drink. We're gonna take every bit of the tithes to put clothes on their back. We're gonna take every bit of the tithes to go to the prisons where they are. We're gonna take every bit of the tithes to go to the house where they're sick." That's what we're gonna do. That's not what your Christian pastor does. He takes it and he puts it in his pocket. How do I know he puts it in his pocket? Creflo Dollar. Creflo Dollar puts it in his pocket so that he can buy a $400,000 Rolls Royce. Creflo Dollar puts it in his pocket so he can buy a $3.4 million house. Creflo Dollar puts it in his pocket so he can buy a $65 million jet. so he can go spread the gospel. While Creflo Dollar is out spreading the gospel in his $65 million jet, we have men all over the world in the ISUBK who will walk to you to spread the gospel if they have to, who will load up in vans and drive to you if they have to spread the gospel. We don't have $60 million jets to fly all over the world. We're living from check to check, just like those out there who are trying to go and help, who are homeless. We are one check away from being out there with them. But your pastor, he don't give a damn about that. Your pastor needs a $65 million jet. And as they say, what did Christ have? A donkey. They walked to where they went.
That's right.
That's what they did. Go ahead, Art.
Shalom on Christ, Adawat. Officer Marlon Shark checking in.
Shalom on Christ, mighty man, you too, Art.
Wow, sir.
Excellent. Got any comments or any questions?
Live, sir.
Excellent. We'll continue. Now, what I want you to understand is you're going to hear some things that your Christian pastor has said. I'm going to bust his head tonight because it angers me when I go out there and I see my brothers and sisters in the position that they're in, literally laying on the steps of a church. The brothers on this call have seen that. You've seen that when we go to feed the homeless, that they're at the doorsteps of the church, sitting there. And guess what? Those doors are closed. The doors of those churches are closed. And they're sitting there waiting for them to possibly open up so they can give them something. Open those doors up and let them come in, let them sleep. Understand, they're out there in 100-degree weather, 100+ degree weather with no water. No water. They can't even, they're fighting to find shade. Do you understand what that's like? You understand what that feels like? How can you have $1 million of anything and be sitting your ass at home when you know that your people out there starving to death, burning up out here in this weather, homeless, no shoes, no change of clothes, no change of underwear? Well, you're going to find out today. You're going to find out today. Napash, I want you to pull up some of these pictures online so that everyone can see what I'm talking about when it comes to their pastor. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over a couple of things that you normally hear from the Christian pastor that he speaks on, that he says, so that you will tithe, so that you can empty your pockets to him. For one of the things that you'll hear him say is the promise of 100-fold blessings return to you when you give. They love to say this. It's 100-fold blessings return to you when you give. Now, if you're looking at the screen right now, of course, you're seeing us out here serving the homeless. Slowly go through those. You'll see us out here serving the homeless. That's what we do. Now, of course, you'll take your Christians and they'll come out there and they'll say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give them something to eat. The Christians will come out there and they'll throw you some food and then they'll walk off. But what you're going to learn today is that the ISUBK, we spend time with those brothers and sisters out there. We show them that there's someone instead of acting like there's something. I want you to hold it right there for a second, Napash, as I continue to go through this. One of the other things that you hear is thankfulness for a social and spiritual institution that meets many needs. That's what the pastor will say to you. You should be thankful that you have this church. You should be thankful that you have this building, that you can come in and socialize with your brothers and sisters, that you have a place that you can go to and worship the Lord. That's what he'll tell you in order to pull on those heartstrings so that you can go into your pocket and give him what you have. Then he'll say, the wonderful pastor is instilling unflinching loyalty within you by showing you that if you tithe, he's going to show you what you're supposed to do, what you can have, what you can get. He'll show you, well, if you give, you can receive. Here's the thing. You are giving to your pastor. He is receiving from you because you're giving to him. What does he have? $1 million home. What does he have? A $65 million jet. What does he have? A $400,000 car. But here's what you don't get. You don't have those things.
Right.
At Creflo Dollar's church, world changes. The only thing that has changed is his world. Let me say it again. At World Changes Church, which Creflo Dollar is the head of, the pastor of. The only thing that changes is him when he's exchanging that money from his hand to the oppressor's hand. Outside of that, has your condition changed? Black man, Hispanic man, or Native Indian man? Any of you who go to that church? Matter of fact, I've said this before. Mawasar, you used to live down the street from his Salakia, his old National Highway location, correct? Are you there, Mawasar? So you used to live right down the street from his World Changes location on Old National. And let me ask you, did you see the land of milk and honey around that church? Did you still see drug dealers, prostitution, death around that church? Or did you see people thriving and living well? What did you see happening around that church?
Sir, not thriving well. I seen drug dealers, drug addicts, prostitution, all that.
Exactly. Drug addicts, prostitution, death. That's what you were seeing around that church. But his church is called World Changes or World Changers. What has he changed? For that matter, what has the Christian church changed? If you would, Napash, pull up the picture of his home. I'm going to show you what their tithes and offerings have done for Creflo Dollar. If you're watching the class, you're about to see on the screen a picture of Creflo Dollar. Now, that right there is his jet. If you look at that, he asked his congregation for $65 million so he can get a jet. If you're looking at the screen right now, you can see a $65 million jet. That's his. That's Creflo Dollar's jet. Go to the next one. I go to his house and his home. Salaki, his car. So there you go. His Rolls Royce, his $400,000 Rolls Royce. He needs that also so that he can go spread the gospel. But remember now, World Changes is the name of his church. He's supposed to be changing the world. But we know that there's only one world that matters, and that's the world of Israel. That world right there, he's turned his back on. He now looks to his oppressor, and his oppressor makes sure that he's compensated. Go to the next one of his house. Give me the picture of his house. If you're watching the class, I want you to see Creflo Dollar's house. Right there, it's Creflo Dollar's $3.4 million home. 17,000 square feet. 17,000 square feet, $3.4 million house. Understand that. You know how many people he could feed with $3.4 million and how long he could feed them? You know how many people he could house in 17,000 square feet? You know how many people he could bring in out of this heat and make sure they have a roof over their head? You know how many people that he could actually help and be a servant to with all of that? And guess what? I'm going to go a step further. Creflo Dollar's net worth. Creflo Dollar's net worth is $27 million. $27 million. Now, we're not talking about just all cash. We're talking about cash. We're talking about vehicles, planes, homes, property. That's what we're talking about. $27 million. What pastor and why would he be worth $27 million? But if you go outside, right outside his church on the doorsteps, somebody is homeless right there. How is that possible? Make it make sense to me. Atlanta is supposed to be the land of milk and honey for black folks, but the only people who have money are your pastors. That's it. Oh, you make $50,000 a year? That ain't shit. $60,000 a year? That ain't shit. You living from check to check. Creflo Dollar is worth $27 million. $27 million. But guess what? Who in his church is worth anything? Who are the people? What do the people in his church have? Nothing. But they're going to make sure that he's well. But that's okay. I'm going to continue. because I'm gonna get on Eddie Long, which you've heard us talking about him. I'm gonna get on Jamal Bryant. I'm gonna get on Pastor E. Dewey Smith. All these pastors whose net worth is in the millions. In the millions. Who in the ISUBK is worth millions of dollars? Because I can promise you this, our people eat. We make sure that our people eat. So if I got $1 million, all of Israel has $1 million. Come on. All of Israel will have $1 million. We're going to make sure that they eat. But if you go out here in these streets, you're going to see it today. Give me, if you would, young man Abishai, I want you to give me Malachi 3:8 and hold it there. Malachi 3:8.
Come that one come.
Now, as I continue, what the pastors will say to you so that you can come out of your pockets, it's the willingness to give because God has been good to them. If God has been good to you, then show him by going in your pockets and filling up that tray. If he's been good to you. So you think because you got to eat today, oh yeah, the God was good to you. And of course, getting to eat, that's excellent because guess what? There are brothers and sisters out there who don't get to eat. So he allowed you to eat. But then he also, what does he do? He threats you with hellfire and damnation. If you don't do this, you go into hell. That right there is to scare you. That's to scare you if you don't do it. And then he'll push this on you. Then they'll tell you to give because God said so. Now, you'll be completely disregarding and disobeying what the Lord said if you don't tithe. That's the only law that your Christian pastors will try to follow, is the law of tithing. Of course, this isn't anything new that I'm saying to you. These are things you've heard before. You got that verse?
Come that one come.
All right.
The book of Malachi, chapter 3 and verse 8.
Hold on one second. Napash, there's a bit of an echo. I can hear myself. You got to take care of it. Not yet. Hold that for a second. Abishai, we got technical difficulties. Okay. No, that's not it. Let's see. Nah, I can still hear myself. If you're on the call right now, if you're in class, hold just a second while we're taking care of the technical difficulties. All right. There we go. Young man Abishai, you there?
Come that one come.
Excellent. Go ahead and give me Malachi 3:8, Baba Kashai.
Come that one come. The book of Malachi, chapter 3 and verse 8. Will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings.
Come on now. In the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verses 8, it says, will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings. That's where. How? How has he done that? Because he's taken it and he hasn't given it back to the people. He's taken it and kept it for himself. He is a greedy dog. That's what he is. He wants all the silver and gold. He wants everything. He is the one who doesn't leave you a grape. And where did he learn that from? The oppressor, because the oppressor doesn't leave you anything. The oppressor comes and he takes everything. And he taught his hireling to do the same thing. Now we're going to go into a hireling here shortly so you can get understanding. But I want you to see when the scripture says, will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have ye robbed thee? In tithes and offering. He's telling you, this is how you robbed me. Get your pastor to explain that verse to you. For those of you who are still going to church on Sunday morning, Ask your pastor about that verse and ask him to explain to you what that means. I bet you he can. I bet you he'll lie to you. He'll come up with something slick to say, but it won't be the truth. I'm going to continue. Now, as I said about robbing you in tithes and offerings, that's why I wanted you to understand that Creflo Dollar is worth $27 million. Lives in a $3.4 million house and flies in a $65 million jet and has a $400,000 car. That's what tithes and offerings got for him. And guess what? They'll tell you, well, we just want to take care of our pastor. Your pastor is lying to you. Your pastor is pimping you, bleeding you dry. You living from check to check, and he don't even know what a check is. All he knows what money is. All he does is hear cha-ching. And unfortunately, we've talked about this man so much, but come on, listen to his man. Listen to his name, Dollar. He all about that dollar.
That's right.
Millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. Now, let me see. Which one do I want to go to? What verse here? Go ahead and read me Malachi 3 and 9.
Come, sir.
Sir.
No, hold that thought, young man Abishai. Go ahead, Mawasar.
Okay. Just right quick, sir. You know, since we're on the subject of Creflo Dollar, you know, we had a fire a while back when I used to stay in Camelot.
Uh-huh.
The building that I was staying in had caught on fire. So when me and one of my roommates, we went to go get some help from the church, man. How about they told us we have to they had to schedule us an appointment to come in and take some type of financial class or something. And they said because the next time you come out, we won't be able to help you.
Wow.
Right.
So
right.
you mean to tell me your place burns up, you go to the church for help, and they tell you you have to take a financial class. What does a financial class have to do with your goddamn place burning up and losing everything? You need help and assistance right now.
That's right.
But they're gonna tell you got to take a financial class. You see, that's what your gatekeepers do. That's why the Judah mourneth. That's why the gates languish, because those who are supposed to be holding the gates shut, keeping everyone out and keeping us in and safe, they're opening up for us to be destroyed. They're doing exactly what they were hired to do. So when this brother goes to them for help because his place is burnt down, they want to tell you to take a financial class. Explain that to me. Help me to understand what a financial class is going to do when you just lost everything. You need help. What is a financial class going to do for you? I tell you what, it's a damn shame to see how our people treat each other. It really is. Go ahead, read Malachi 3 and 9.
Con out of one concert. Malachi chapter 3 and verse 9. Ye are cursed with a curse, for ye have robbed me, even this whole nation.
Ye have robbed me, even this whole nation. What nation is this talking about? Somebody tell me.
Salaki Adawan.
Go ahead, out.
If I may, it would be talking about the nation of Israel.
Absolutely. He's robbed, the Christian pastors have robbed the whole nation. Everywhere where there's a black Christian pastor, he is robbing blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. I'll say it again. Everywhere that there's a black pastor, he is robbing black people. That's what he's doing. That's his job. He's taking every penny you have from you. He's taking the very last grape. That's what he's doing. Once again, I'll read it. It says, ye are accursed with a curse, for ye have robbed me, even this whole nation. Look around. Think about every black city in America. Think about all the black pastors. Think about their churches, and then think about what it looks like around their church. I've traveled this country, seen a lot of things, but one thing that remains the same is around every black church, there's going to be homelessness, drugs, prostitution, death, you name it. It's by that church. And here's the thing: there's a church on like every other block.
That's right.
In a lot of these black cities, There's a church in every other block, and nothing has changed. The city is still destroyed, but there's churches everywhere. All these prominent pastors.
Yeah.
And the city is destroyed. You got some, young man Abishai?
I'm just Salaki Adawan. I'm just agreeing with everything you're saying.
Khan. You know, so when we look at this and understand that the pastors have robbed God and that they've robbed the entire nation, I want you to go into Malachi again, but this time go up to Malachi 3 and 5.
Khan Adawan Khan. The book of Malachi, chapter 3 and verse 5. And I will come near you, Salakia, and I will come near to you to judgment. And I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers and against the adulterers and against false swearers and against those that oppress the hireling in his wages. The widow.
Stop right there. Stop right there. The hireling in his wages. As I've been talking to you about hireling, somebody give me the definition of hireling.
Khan, that one Khan. Salaki Adawan, if I may.
Go ahead.
This is the word hireling, the definition. One who will follow anyone's orders for pay.
Okay. Now that is a part of the definition, but I want you to understand that this hireling is a noun and it's derogatory, and he will anyone for pay. It says here, a person employed to undertake menial work. Now, it also has another definition, a person who works purely for material reward. But also when you understand that a hireling is a person who has been hired to do a job. Your Christian pastor, your black Christian pastor was hired to do a job. And where was he hired? He was hired once he went through the oppressors. What is it called when your oppressor, when the black pastor, what school do they go to? What's it called when they become pastors?
Salaki Adawan.
Go ahead, Op.
Would that be what is seminary school?
Correct. So when they go to seminary school and they get that degree, they've been hired because they've gone and they've learned the ways of the oppressor. They've learned how to tell the lie that the oppressor has been teaching blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians since slavery.
God.
That's how they learn. So they go to the seminary school, they're taught, and then once they come out, they teach you what the oppressor taught you. And some of them go on to get PhDs. So they're very well trained and skilled in the lie, in the deception of Christianity. So then they can go in and teach those that are under them the lie that they've been taught. So they've been hired by the oppressor. Once they go through that school and they come out and they get that certificate, then guess what? Here you go. You can start a church. How do we know this? How do we know that the oppressor is a liar and a thief? Because a pastor can go and plant him a church in the hood and make $1 million a year. But I can't go clear off some land and open a gas station. Am I lying to you? I'm not lying to you. A pastor can go and open a church, make millions in the hood, but I can't go and clear off some land and build a property and open a gas station and open a beauty supply place, open a grocery store. Somehow, when I want to go do those things, something blocks it.
Right.
But when you want to open a church, you can, because you're going to bleed the people dry that are right there in the community. But you would think, okay, I just opened a church and I'm bringing in millions of dollars a year in this church. Let me go ahead to help the community build a grocery store right there in that community. Can they do that? Absolutely not. Your oppressor is going to own that community store and call it Quality Foods. That's what he's going to do. But there's nothing quality about it because you're getting the ass end of everything, the bottom of the barrel of everything.
Right.
That's what's going to happen. So they've hired him. He's a hireling. That is what the pastor is. That's what this verse is talking about. Go ahead, read that one more time. Or go ahead and read Malachi 3 and 5 again.
Khan at one Khan, the book of Malachi, chapter 3 and verse 5. And I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, and against the adulterers, and against false swearers, and against those that oppress the hireling in his wages, the widow and the fatherless, and that turn aside the stranger from his right, and fear not me, saith the Lord of hosts.
So I want you to understand that your pastors have a job to do. Your pastors have been hired to help oppress you. Think about that. You're being oppressed by the white man. The white man is oppressing all of the blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians,
Right.
but he's also using black pastors to also oppress you by doing what? By lying to you, by telling you that the law, statutes, and commandments are done away with. So if you believe that the law, statutes, and commandments are done away with, then why in the world are you still tithing? Because for them, they're going to continue to line their pockets. That's what they taught the pastors to do. Here is how you train them to stay under you, black pastor. Here's what you teach them, black pastor. You teach them prosperity. So when you give the black person, you give the black person hope, hope of heaven, hope of money, hope of that job, hope of that house. He's always having hope, but not having hope in the Most High, not having hope in the law, statutes, and commandments of God.
Right.
So when you think about that, it leads me to Pastor E. Dewey Smith. That's the church where my parents went to church and where I also went to church when I was young. The name of that church is called the House of Hope. Think about that now. The House of Hope. Hope for what? Hope for a better life? Hope for a job? Hope for that car that you've been wanting? Hope for that raise that you've been looking for? It ain't nothing about hope for your people, though. It's not nothing about hoping that your people come out of the situation that they're in. Because the only way that you are going to stay where you are is if you tithe. But what about those who are outside the church that are starving? What about those who are in the community right around the church who are struggling? What about the hope for them? What are you doing for them? What has changed for them? Nothing. You know why? Because they're waiting, like their pastor have taught them. Wait for heaven. You're gonna die one day, and then you'll be with them, and then you'll have all the riches. I want it right now, just like the black pastor has it right now, just like the white Christian pastor has it right now, just like the white oppressor has it right now.
Right.
We don't want to wait until death. We want it now, and we will have it. And you pastors, the blood is on your hands. The blood is on your hands because you've been taking from our people. You've been bleeding them dry since you learned how to read that goddamn book. And the oppressor brought you in the house, made you a house nigga, and said, here, teach them this. Watch what I do. The oppressor told you to not have brotherhood by showing you how he was going to treat them, and you treat them the same way. You do the exact same thing that the oppressor did to you. You do that to your brothers. You do that to your sisters. That's why Atlanta's in the position that it's in. All the money that's in Atlanta, all the money that Martin Luther King raised. But look, we still got homeless black folks. Look around Ebenezer Baptist Church and tell me you don't see drug addicts. Look around Ebenezer Baptist Church and tell me you don't see prostitutes. Look around Ebenezer Baptist Church and tell me you don't see homeless. Right. But if you go into the church, if you go into and you look at Dr. King and his family, they're rich.
Right.
They are rich because they sold their people out.
God.
That's why Judah mourneth. That's why Judah is mourning. You don't believe me that Judah is mourning? We will continue to read and you're going to understand. Understand here that the Black Christian Church has robbed the nation of Israel, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. I want you to know how much, and y'all have heard this before. I think it was as of 2019, it came out that the Black Christian Church, they say 10 years. I thought it was a little bit longer, but they have raised over in tithes and offerings $800 billion. That was just in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. It's 2023 now. So I'm pretty sure they've more than likely hit that $1 trillion mark. The black church is the greatest business in this country. That sounds crazy. Think about it. If you look at how much Amazon makes, 230 million a year, something along those numbers. If you look at what, and I hate to even say this, but I'll bring it out, human trafficking makes about $32 billion a year. We know that Atlanta is the heartland of human trafficking. But the black church, as of 2019, $800 billion. Mind you, it's 2023 now. 800 billion. Not million, but billion. Try to help me understand that. Make that make sense to me. That the black Christian church has made $800 billion and look at the condition of our people in every goddamn city in America. Every city in America. Once again, you take Creflo Dollar, $21 million a year. That's how much, well, that's what he's worth. Eddie Long, who is no longer with us, $5 million. That's how much he was worth and what he was making a year. Jamal Bryant, who is now over Eddie Long's church, $3 million. Pastor E. Dewey Smith, which is basically right down the street from here, $1 million. You can look this up for yourself and check it out. So if Atlanta is the black Mecca, if Atlanta is the place to come to for black wealth, how are you getting it? You're taking it from the people who need it the most by depriving them of what they need the most. They need the truth. They need your brotherhood. They need your resources. They need the basic things that you have to live. But they're not getting that. You see what they do here in Atlanta, they'll tell you, here's the place to come and make the goddamn movie. I don't care about a movie. Who cares about a movie? I don't give a damn about what Tyler Perry is filming in downtown Atlanta. But I do care about the fact that our people are down there dying every single day because they're being neglected, because we step over them, because we do nothing for them. And when I say we, I'm talking about those of you who have the ability to go out there and truly make a change with your funds. Well, guess what? The ISUBK is doing it. The ISUBK makes sure that we go out there and feed the people with the resources that we have, that we try to use. We make sure that we go out there and actually put clothes on your back, food in your stomach. We try to find a way to get you to a place where you can survive until you can get up out that street and come into this truth with us. But until then, we're going to come down there and we're going to get in the mud with you. We're going to come down there and show you that you're not by yourself, that we have not neglected you, that we have not turned our back on you. But your Christian pastors have. Your black Christian celebrities have. But the ISUBK under commanding Junior Hana has not. He has not. Give me Deuteronomy 17 and 17.
Salaki Adawan.
Go ahead, Ak.
Can you all see this?
I can't see. Napash, can you blow up the screen?
That's Creflo's house.
Oh, absolutely. I show that. I showed that earlier. That house right there is $3.4 million. 17,000 square feet. And I think it's just him and his wife. What's her name? Taffy Dollar. Taffy Dollar. You're Tawab, Napash. You're Tawab. But yeah, I just want you to understand that your pastors have robbed you. They have stolen all the silver and gold. Give me Deuteronomy 17 and 17. And Tawada for that picture out.
Khan. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17 and verse 17. Khan, Adawan Khan. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17 and verse 17. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold,
Now stop right there. Now, although this isn't the topic of the class, we're going to back up into that Deuteronomy 17. I'm going to touch something real quick just so that no one gets it twisted with the slipping. Thinks that we're slipping. Hold on. Let me plug this up here real quick. Okay. I just be damned. If you're still watching the class, bear with me. My phone just died. I'm going to be pulling it right back up here in just a second. But what I'm going to do is break down Deuteronomy 17 and 17 for you, where it's talking about multiplying to himself wives. And then after that, it's talking about multiplying silver and gold. While I'm trying to pull the phone up, I'm going to go off the dome and let you know that when the scripture is saying multiplying to himself multiple wives, what this is saying is don't take all the wives or take all the women from the men that are under you. This is not saying that you can't have a wife or multiple wives, so that there's clarity. Although this isn't the topic, I want you to understand that this isn't saying that you can't have multiple wives. It's saying that for the men that are under you, don't try and multiply them all to yourself. Is that understood?
Con, I want con.
Excellent. I'm trying to get the phone back up here. Just one moment. Salakia? No, I've got it. The water. I'm pulling it up right now. Just one moment. Hope those of you are still watching the class. Few technical difficulties, but that's all right. This truth is still going to come out tonight. Here we go. Here, just one moment. Let me call in. Oh, hey.
Salaki Adawan,
Go ahead, Warren.
while you look for that, if I may, show Creflo Dollar getting off his jet.
Yeah, go ahead. Everybody, you still there? You on the call now? It's like everybody on the call. Okay, excellent. Sorry about that. There's an accident there. All right, go ahead, Napash. Going back so we can go ahead and continue. Young man Abishai, I think you were trying to show something. Weren't you?
I was just showing Creflo getting off his jet.
Okay. Napash, go ahead and go back to young man Abishai. It is, this brother has him a jet to go do what he needs to do. I don't know where in the world where he needs to go, where it takes a private jet to get there so that he can spread more lies. Because I can tell you, wherever he's going all over the world, there has been no change. And the reason why I say that is because the name of his church is World Changes. There has been no change. As a matter of fact, when you look at the Christian church as a whole, what has changed for the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man? Nothing. The matter of fact, if you look at the deacons at the church, the deacons who are servants, who are under their pastor, nothing has changed for them either. They aren't rich. It's the pastor who's changed. It's the pastor who's rich. It's the pastor who has these $1 million homes, living extravagantly. That's what it is. But I'm going to keep on reading. When it's okay, matter of fact, there you go. Deuteronomy 17 and 18. Let me get there real quick. Okay. Deuteronomy 17 and 17. Bear with me, Salakia. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to read that real quick myself here. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17, verse 17, it states, neither shall he multiply wives to himself, which I just broke down to you. When it's saying multiplying wives to himself, meaning Don't be greedy. Don't try to get all the wives, all the women from the men that are below you, so that there's understanding with that. Then it says here that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. The pastor has multiplied to himself silver and gold.
That's right.
All the money, all the riches, all the wealth, all his jewelry, everything, he has multiplied it to himself. What do you have? What matter of fact, anybody on the phone, in the classroom, anyone, how many of you saw riches come in the Christian church to you because you tithe? Because you tithe and you're in the Christian church, anybody in here on the phone, have you gotten a great material gain because you tithe? Crickets. Go ahead, Op.
Sir.
There it is. I know I haven't. None of us have. I didn't get rich for tithing in the Christian church, but I can tell you what, I love to tithe here in the ISUBK. I love to tithe here because I know what Commanding Junior Hana is going to do. He's going to help Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians get the things that they need. That's what he's going to do. When the brothers in here in this school are in need, he's going to make sure that you have what you need.
That's right.
I've seen it. I've watched what the tithes have done. I see when the trucks go out, the 18-wheelers go out and go into these communities and feed the people. I've seen it happen over and over and over again, time and time again. I've seen that. If you follow any of us in the ISUBK, in any state, Commanding Junior Hana is making sure that those who have been left behind, those who have nothing, he's making sure that they're eating. He's making sure that the clothes are going on their back. But guess what? That takes time. That takes money. That takes effort. That takes manpower. And we're doing it the best that we can.
That's right.
We're making sure that we go out there and do what we can. We are putting our own funds into this. Your Christian pastor is not doing that. You can take one pastor and his income for a year is more than damn near all the brothers in ISUBK. But go ahead, Op.
What you saying so heavy, like that question is the perfect question, you know what I mean, for what you're saying right now where you know, with the Christian pastor, you know what I'm saying, like they you know, they get it like when you say these brothers on the street, you know, they always like, you know, these people are gay and this and that. Why do it seem like everybody has a problem with the brother or the sister on the street, and, you know, begging? They be like, even if you put to a fair store, you be like, I feel like, and they gonna be begging. But every Sunday, you willingly go to hear the pastor beg. You know what I mean? The pastor don't spend, like they don't spend his own money to go get his beg. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why you think this is able to collect so much money. Like,
right. Well, number one, niggas hate they hate their brothers and sisters. Number one, they hate us. They hate their own people. It's easy for us, and I say us, meaning not in the ISUBK, but blacks as a whole. It's easier for us to give to the pastor, but for the person that needs help, we don't want to do it. Think about that. What you're saying, if that's what you're talking about, it's easy for us to help someone who already has it, but for those who don't, we don't want to give them anything. So here's what I want you to understand, everybody who's watching this class. Money it's a defense, but guess what money also is? Money is also access. Because when you have money, you get access to get more money without working for it. I'll say it again. Money is also access. Because if you notice, people who have money get things for free.
That's right.
Have y'all ever paid attention to that? People who have money, people go to them and say, here, I want you to have this. You make $150 million a year, and someone comes up to you and says, well, hey, look, I want you to have this new Mercedes that we just built, driving around. Of course, it's advertisement, but they're giving them the car. You make $150 million a year and someone's giving you something? Why are rich people give each other things? So that funds, the money puts you in a place or you have access to other people who have money. You have access to things. You have access to things that can make a difference. But you aren't using your power and or your access to give back. We use it so that our people can thrive. You got something up?
Got the scripture right there.
Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 12. Ecclesiastes, the Old Testament. Wisdom is defense. You know what I'm saying? You got to be wise what you're doing. If a little kid go around playing, you spoil them all day, you like that, you give them like, what $200, $300. He ain't gonna be wise because we didn't taught him how to be wise. That's in 1 Corinthians 11:3.
Mm-hmm.
Rank in order. We ain't talking about how to be wise. We just throwing something. That thing called money. That's why you see these women out here on YouTube and Twitter, where they're twerking their behind.
Right.
These feminists. What is it, 3 or 4 women?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have them. Because, you know, we throw money at them. You know, the person going to do is, you know, okay, yeah, you got the money, you can have these resources on this. As long as you got the way to make money, the way to make the money for the women, be on YouTube, show they behind, show something, thinking it's cute.
Mm-hmm.
That you know what I'm saying? That's unwise. And money is a defense.
That's right.
They'll be pastors don't tell you. They all talk about money. Throwing around a little a plate. What that plate? What you throw around to me for?
Right.
You a wise person. You be like, why are you doing that for?
Right.
Get money. You know what I'm saying? And but the essence of knowledge is that wisdom give life to that habit. You can pick it back on Deuteronomy 4:1. We right here at the Israelite School Universe Practical Knowledge.
That's right.
We give them knowledge. We give them the essence of knowledge.
That's right.
That's why we had a bake sale last Sunday
That's right.
for the sisters.
That's right. And you know what? Hold that point right there for a second. That's something else I want to do. I want to shout out the sisters who took their time to put together that bake sale, Tasty Pastries. I'm gonna go ahead and let you know, all of it was delicious. All of it was great. We had a pretty good turnout. And if they do it again, I think it'll be even better. But I definitely want to give those sisters a shout out for that.
That's right.
Go ahead. I can hear what you're bringing out.
Yeah, I was saying, the essence of knowledge. Stop getting high.
Right.
You get high, you can't build nothing. All you just might be smoking a blunt, smoking a crack pipe. And what you doing? You laying on the damn street.
That's right.
You being homeless. Once you do that, you are already homeless. You know, say you want paycheck away.
That's right.
Crackheads do stuff like that. They work a job, get that one paycheck, smoke it away. You know what I'm saying? They using the wrong defense.
You're right.
I know money for defense. We need money. But wisdom.
That's right. The knowledge on how to use it.
That's right.
Yeah. All the laws, statutes, commandments.
That's right.
1:1.
That's right.
That's right.
Why we down out in the streets.
That's right. You're exactly right, Doc. You're exactly right.
Say the last part. That wisdom gave it life to them have it. That's
right.
why we have it. That's why we sit out here. You know what I'm saying? Every day. Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday.
That's right. Right.
That's why we have Hebrew cabinet workout classes.
That's right.
That's the wisdom. That's what brings, you know what I'm saying, hope to this life for the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians.
That's right.
Not some Christian pastor talking about, yeah, I like money, you know what I'm saying, wearing purple.
You're right. You're right, Doc.
Tell
Excellent.
me what, oh, well.
No, you excellent. What you brought out is heavy out because you have to have wisdom, even if you have money.
That's right.
Because if you don't have that wisdom, you can have money and it's like you have a hole in your pocket. I know myself when I was young, I would have a job and was making decent money. And because I didn't have wisdom, what was I doing? I was spending that money on everything but what I should have been spending it on. I probably could have had a house 2 or 3 times over with how ignorant I was with my spending. But understand this. Right now, I've matured. Right now, I understand the value of $1. I understand what it means to have something in my pocket and what I can do with it, because what I have isn't for me. It's for my brothers and sisters. It's not just for me to go and say, well, I want to have this for myself. There's things that we need to do to make sure that the school keeps running.
Right.
We have to keep these lights on. We have to keep this roof over our head.
Right.
We have to keep this. We have to pay the rent.
Right.
So that we can have this place to come to. We have to have this storehouse intact. We have to keep this storehouse intact. And with that, give me Malachi 3:10. I'm going to show you what the money is supposed to be, what the tithes are supposed to do. And not only just the tithes, but whatever you bring in so that our people can eat, so that our people can survive. Give me Malachi 3:10.
Khan, sir. Book of Malachi, chapter 3 and verse 10. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house. And prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open the window of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it.
Now, understand this. When it says here, bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, somebody tell me, what's the storehouse? Today, what is the storehouse?
Salaki Adawan.
Go ahead, Art. Hold on, young man Abishai. Go ahead, Michael Lott.
Oh, yeah, man. You can get it, sir.
All right, then, young man Abishai. Go ahead and give it to me.
Khan, sir, if I may, that'd be the school.
You're damn right. The storehouse is the school. The storehouse is the ISUPK. All the schools in all these cities here in America and outside this country. And it says here that there may be meat in mine house. So that there may be meat in mine house, when we bring the tithes in, that's why we can go out there when we feed the homeless. That's why we can go out there and that's why we can pay the rent. That's why we can do what we do, because we have meat in our storehouse to keep the school up, to fix it, to make it to where people have a place to come to. So that's why we have to that's why we're to tithe, so that we can continue in doing this work. You see, your pastor, he brings the things into his church, into his so-called storehouse. But guess what the pastor's storehouse is? It's his bank account. The pastor's storehouse is the bank account, not the church, because he isn't doing anything that the scripture tells us that we're supposed to do. What you got, Napash?
Yeah, just like the saying what happened. You know what I'm saying? That's why I put the banner right there. You know what I'm saying? You know, send some stars. You send money. You know, the brothers and sisters right here listen to it. They're gonna might listen to it after the recording. Send some stars, 99 cents per star, $20. Throw it up there. Then you know what I'm saying, we will have, you know what I'm saying, more bake sales, more.
Absolutely.
Still going on for school.
Absolutely. There's absolutely nothing wrong with brothers that want to donate to the school so we can go out there and continue to push this truth. And when I say push this truth, meaning we can go out there and continue to put food in the stomachs of our people that don't have anything. That doesn't line our pockets. I don't give a damn about someone giving me money. I want my people to have money. So if I get it, my brothers and sisters out there can get it. It's not so that I can get it or any brother in the school can get it and that we can keep it and hoard it up to ourselves. That stuff isn't going with us. We want to make sure that our people eat. I get tired of seeing my people starving. I work in downtown Atlanta, and every single day in downtown Atlanta, guess what I see? Homeless, blacks, black men and black women. Every day. I'll probably see 10, 15, 20 every single day. I try to give to them when I can. I try to. But guess what? I make sure that I remember those spots so that when myself and my brothers go out, we can go to those spots and make sure that those people are fed. Make sure that we are giving them something. Make sure that we are showing them brotherhood.
Right.
That's what we do. We let them know that you have not been left. Your Christian pastor and the Christian church has left you out there because they show up when it's Christmas. They show up when it's Thanksgiving to give you a goddamn turkey. We need to do this each and every single weekend if we can, every single day if we can. They aren't just people who are homeless aren't homeless for a goddamn season. They aren't homeless for the holidays. They're homeless year round until we can get out there and fight to get them out of the condition that they're in. How do we do that? By teaching them the law, statutes, and commandments. That's how we get them out of that condition. And while we're getting them out of that condition, while we're teaching them that, we're feeding them. There's a video that I'm going to show you at the end of class of what an older brother said to us. It's very powerful, and it means a whole lot because men all over the ISUPK get this same thing told to them everywhere they are. They understand because the people understand that we are not the Christian church. They understand that we are not the purple pigs that you see out there lined up and marching down the street who hate black people. They understand that we aren't just out there just to be out there. We take our time with you to show you the love of God. We take our time with you by being servants of God. So what you want to do is to find out what it is to be a servant. Give me Matthew 25, the book of Matthew, chapter 25, verses 35 to 37. Let me get there with you. The book of Matthew, chapter 25. We're gonna go to 35 to 37. I'm gonna get there with you.
Sir. I'm ready when you are, sir.
All right, just 1 second here. Matthew 25, get verse 35 with you. All right, warrior. Right now, I'm going to tell you how we're servants. I'm going to tell you how that men in the ISUPK are servants. Go ahead and read verse 35 for me, Baba Kashai.
Khan Adawan Khan, the book of Matthew, chapter 25 and verse 35. For I was in hunger, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in.
Stop right there. Stop right there. This right here is what it is to be a servant. This is what the men in the ISUPK do. This is why we do what we do, because the scripture tells us to, because we love blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. This is what we do. We don't go out there for a good deed. We go out there to war against the things that have put our people out there. And understand this, there's a misconception when it comes to the homeless. People believe that all homeless people are just drug addicts, junkies, whatever. They just decided, oh, I'm going to go out here and throw my life away. That is not the case. One bad decision and not having any brotherhood around you can put you out there in these streets. Losing your job in a place that you went to work and not having any family to say, look, no, come stay here till you get on your feet. One of those situations just like that can put you out there in those streets. And all it takes is, well, I need 1 day I can get back on my feet. Then it turns into 2 days, then to 3 days. Next thing you know, you've been out there for 2-3 years because no one took the time to stop and say, how can I help you? What is it that I can do? What put you in this condition? How did you get here? We just look at them and say, oh, that's a drug addict. Oh, we're enabling them by doing this. Don't you understand the scripture lets us know that there's always going to be poor. But guess what? We're always going to go out there and we're going to feed. We're always going to go out there and make sure that they eat. I'm going to read that verse one more time. Verse 35. It says here, so I was hungered and ye gave me meat. We go out there and we feed our people. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. We make sure that they have something to drink. I was a stranger and you took me in. When we go out there, we talk to those brothers and sisters and we sit down with them. We let them know that there's someone instead of something. And we try to say, look, as we build this with you, hopefully we can bring you in into this truth so you can come up out of here and show the power of the Most High. That's what we do. Read verse 36.
Khan Adawan Khan. Verse 36. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me.
Stop right there. Naked and ye clothed me. when we go out there, we make sure that we take food, clothes, not just food, not just water, but also clothing. And I'm going to show you when you say naked and they clothe me, we're going to put some pictures up so that you can see, so that those of you who are watching this class can understand that the brothers be out there with no clothes on, nothing. Some of them be out there with just a t-shirt and some shorts, no shoes. Or some of them have on some shoes and a short, no shirt. Due to the weather that it's in, of course, half of them want to come out of their clothes. When you get to that, Napash, yeah, I'm going to get you to hold it for a second so the brothers can see. You know the picture I'm looking for. I want the brothers who are watching the class to see if you get to it. Until then, I'll continue to teach. Naked and ye clothed me. I was sick and ye visited me. There are brothers and sisters out there right now who are sick because of hunger pains. You know what it is to be hungry and your stomach hurt? You know what hunger pains are? If you know what hunger pains are, then there's no way that you shouldn't be out there with us when we're feeding the homeless. There's no way that you shouldn't be sitting in some sort of donation. As a matter of fact, understand this. If you want to just bring food to 3353 Glenwood Road, you can do that. Bring food, bring drink, bring clothes. That's what we're asking of you. We're not asking you to put us in no goddamn jet so we can fly across East Atlanta. You bring it to us and we'll get it out there to them. Food, drink, clothes. That's what we're asking for. Napash, I was looking for the one where the brother was half dressed. I'm gonna continue. If you would, young man Abishai, go ahead and read verse 27.
Con out of one con. Verse 37. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee in hunger and fed thee, or thirsty and gave thee drink? Verse 38. When saw we thee a stranger and took thee in, or naked and clothed thee? Verse 39. Or when saw we sick or in prison and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, ye have done it unto me.
And there you have it. We go out there unto the least of these and make sure that we take care of them with all of these things. Your Christian pastor does not. Your Christian pastor is not out there in the mud with us.
No.
Your Christian pastor isn't sharing his riches with these brothers and sisters out here who are struggling. So how can he say that he loves God? He doesn't even love his people. He hates his people. The people that he sees every day at his doorstep outside of his church. He hates them because if he loved them, they wouldn't be in the condition that they're in. Because he has the money, the resources to change all their lives, but he doesn't. So then you need the ISUBK under commanding General Yohana to go out there and do what we do. To go out there and show them the love of God, to show them what it is to be a servant of God. Not someone who's a greedy dog, not someone who is going to steal from them.
Right.
Not someone who's going to take every goddamn grape. Matter of fact, pull up Isaiah 56 and 11. Give me the book of Isaiah, chapter 56 and 11.
Come on, sir. The book of Isaiah, chapter 56 and verse 11. Yea, they are greedy dogs, which can never have Salakia. Yea, they are greedy dogs, which can never have enough. And they are shepherds that cannot understand. They
Come
all
on,
look to.
Go ahead. Now go ahead.
They all look to their own way, everyone for his gain from his quarter.
Everyone for his gain. It's for what they need. It's for what they want. It says here that they're greedy dogs. It's all about them. They can never have enough. How do we know they can never have enough? Because they see the condition that you're in and they continue to take. The people who come into the church in those areas that are downtrodden, they're still taking money from them every single week. They're sitting there, can't pay their bills. Things are being turned off, but they're going in there going, well, I'm going to be faithful and I'm going to pay, I'm going to tithe, hoping for that breakthrough, hoping for that year of overflow. The year of overflow has not come. That breakthrough has not come. But if you want that breakthrough to come into the ISUBK.
That's right.
The joy that you can get from seeing where your funds are going, where your tithes are going, where the food that you donate is going, where the clothes that you donate is going, where the drink that you donate is going. I haven't been in Creflo Dollar's house.
Right.
I haven't been on his jet.
Right.
I haven't been in his Rolls Royce.
Right.
And none of his congregation has either. And none of the niggas that are outside his church who are struggling every day to survive have either.
Right.
But guess what? You can come with us. You can come in here and eat with us. You know when we eat? Every single weekend. You know we eat on every single feast day. You can come in here and eat with us. You can come in here and drink with us. You can come in here and war with us so we can go back out there and do it for those people that are struggling and bring them back in. What you got in the pod?
Celebrating holidays like what them? Oh, 4th of July. We have this calendar. Every Saturday, it's gonna be a feast day.
It's gonna be a feast every Sabbath. Every Sabbath, you're gonna come in here and you're gonna eat. You ain't gonna be neglected because the wonderful sisters that we have make sure that the brothers are fed. So you won't have no problems of coming in here eating. But now at your Christian church, what are they feeding you? Not only are they feeding you lies, they feeding you pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, something that's going to kill you anyway, something that's going to put you out there and make you homeless. That's what they're doing. Your Christian pastors ain't shit. Salakia.
What?
They're nothing.
That's right.
They're liars. They're dumb dogs, unable to bark. If a dog can't bark, what good is he? No good. But here in the ISUBK, once again, what are we doing? We're coming out. We're screaming aloud. We're warning our brothers and sisters of what's coming. But also, we're feeding them. And guess what? Lord permitting, Lord willing, this weekend, while we're blazing at camp, we're going to make sure that the people that are out there at camp, they're going to be fed. They're going to be fed this truth, but we're also going to give them nourishment. So make sure that if you want to come out there and be a part of that, if you want to come out there and bring food, bring food. Come out there and donate. You'll see what we're doing. You'll see where we are, where your Christian pastor won't go. We go where he doesn't go. We teach them the truth, and we feed them as well. What I want you to do is understand that Creflo Dollar, Jamal White, Eddie Long, Bishop T.D. Jakes, whatever other black pastor there is, or any pastor, period, they're doing nothing but lining their pockets.
That's right.
That's all that they're doing. They're not doing anything for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians.
Right.
They're lying to you. That's what they're doing.
That's right.
Now I'm gonna see what else I'm gonna bring out here for the sake of time. One of the things that I want to talk about also is how Judah is mourning, because they don't talk about the plight of the black man here in Atlanta, because they want to push the agenda of how rich black people are. And if they feel that they can come here and make money, they'll continue to come to Atlanta and put money into the city, but they won't put money into the city's homeless. So if Atlanta's supposed to be Wakanda, and Wakanda in the movies is this thriving Hamite place. Look at all the wealth that comes into Atlanta amongst blacks, and then look at the people on the street. There's no way that you can tell me that Judah isn't mourning, because the scripture lets it be known that Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. Look around Atlanta, the so-called black Mecca, the so-called black Hollywood, the so-called Wakanda, and you tell me that the black people aren't mourning. You tell me that the gates aren't languishing. I'll prove it to you that they are. When they're outside, they can't escape the heat in this 100-degree plus weather with nowhere to get shelter, with nowhere to get shade. When they're hungry, they don't have food to eat. You tell me that's not languishing. You tell me that they're not mourning. When they're sick and can't get proper health care, you tell me they're not mourning. Tell me that they aren't. When you walk by them as though they don't exist, when you roll up your windows as you pull up to the stoplight and they want some change and you drive past them as though they aren't there, you tell me they aren't mourning. Because guess what? I'm gonna tell you who has hope, and it's not the Christian. The homeless black man has more hope than you know of, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because when he sees another black man pull up, he's like, "Oh, this is the black man. Hopefully, he will give me something." But then, guess what? A lot of them learn that the black people won't give him anything. A lot of times, the white man might do it. You know why the white man will give a black man something who's homeless? To show him that he's above you. That's what he'll do it. I gave this nigga out there on the street a couple of dollars today. Has nothing to do with the love of God because the love of God isn't in him. But he'll do that. So what that then does is that makes the homeless black man look to the white man as the person who's going to help him, because he'll come out there and give him a couple of things. But us, we'll drive up and see him in our Bentley or our Mercedes or whatever it is that we're driving, and we'll tell them, "Look, I'm not going to enable you. You're no worse than your goddamn oppressor." So he's looking at you for something, then he's finding out that he can't get it. He's finding out that you don't want to give him anything. The rich among Israel don't give a damn about Israel. I can promise you that. But one of the things I want you to understand is that this is going to come to an end. This kingdom is falling. The scripture lets it be known that Judah is soon to switch the hand.
That's right.
It's coming. This nation is going to fall.
Right.
We're going to make sure that our people eat. We're going to make sure that they are, because the oppressor isn't. And guess what? Those of you who are among us that are Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian who choose to not feed your people, to not help them, I want you to remember this day on judgment. Remember the day of judgment for you. The day when you look down on your brother. There's a saying that says, "I don't look down on a brother, or I don't look down on a person unless it is to lift them up." And that's true. Because I could be out there with them. I was once on drugs. I was once out there wilding out in these streets. I could have been kicked out the house and wouldn't have had too many places to go. I could have been out there with them, but I'm not. I'm right here sitting at this podium before you teaching Most High in Christ. Making sure that I get out there and help my people. Making sure that I don't drop my sword because Commanding General Yohana didn't. To make sure that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, like those that you see out there in Atlanta that are homeless, making sure that they have shelter, making sure that they have water, making sure that they have clothes, making sure that they have food to eat. So with that, Israel, I'm going to close it with a video that I want you to watch, and you're going to understand why we do what we do. You're going to see how Black people treat other Black people, and then when they come into in front of the priests and prophets, then you find out what it is you're supposed to do. When they see hope in us and they know that it's real. Napash, go ahead and play that video. I want y'all to watch this video that's about to play.
You might get shot just for asking for some bail. I asked the Lord yesterday for something to eat, killed my land. They told me, "Fuck you, old man, I'm not home."
So like it, sir.
Good job, dog. Damn right.
And that right there, that's a powerful thing right there that brother just said, because he knows we've been in the mud too. He knows that we aren't just somebody that's telling him, "Hey, here, it'll be all right. Go ahead and go about your business." No, we stay out there and we feed that brother. And we go out there and we're going to continue to do it. We're going to continue to war for him. And with that, I'm going to pass the class over to powerful priest and prophet, Rock Yalla.
IGBK security announcements. We're the IGBK. We started out on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Room for a new brother and sister. When new brother or sister comes into the school, they're off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They're here to share themselves with the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is the commandments, come out of Numbers 18:21 and Malachi 3, verses 8 through 10 means tenth in the Hebrew, pronounced ma'ashra. 10% of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Upcoming holy convocations. We got the Feast of the Tabernacles. It's going to be September 29th through it ends October the 2nd. Definitely get with it's going to be right here, Glenwood Road. You definitely get with us to observe those priestly acts. And any brothers that want to be a trooper, join the school, come in all black, that's start wearing all black when you come into the class and when you come into to camp. It includes boots, shirts, pants, headbands, and scarves. And for any camp locations and times, get with one of the officers. Keep updated on the times and also the locations. With that, we're gonna get a courtesy salute to the teacher, Man of Israel Major Shabbat, Major Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbat. Any sisters online?
Gone.
All right, we'll give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Amaja, Shabbat, Amaja, Barak, Yahweh Shabbat, Al Hashem Yahweh. What that mean in Hebrew is, may the Lord, and the Most High watch over you. In Christ's name. With that, Amaja, hands down, class is dismissed.
For so long you've been sighing and crying, begging for justice, and here the Lord is bringing you justice right here to your streets. City eyes.
You go back and look at it later. I can't really see it.
Yeah.